Hello, what's up everybody? How is it going? Welcome to another video of tutorial series learning PHP. Learning Kodigniter from scratch. In previous video we covered how to load the view from the controller and also how to load the subviews from inside the views. And we also learned uh, how to generate a dynamic URL for the links, right? We learned about the helpers and how to load the helpers using auto load, and I think that was it for learning the basics about Codeigniter. Now what we can do is we can plan a simple app and start developing it from the scratch so that it becomes easier for us to understand Codeigniter using real-time tasks. So what we'll be doing today is we'll be building, let us say, a simple news application where we'll be adding, editing and deleting news from the admin panel, and we'll display those news in the front end. I hope that will uh, at least give us a basic scenario on how to use various libraries, various classes, various functions of Codeigniter. So login itself will include the session handling process, and the news module will include the CRUD operations involved in Codeigniter. So let us start building our app. So let us today start with a basic admin module. So whenever we type localhost/ci/admin, it should open up our admin panel, which will first of all load the login screen, and whenever we type the correct username and password uh, as per our database, it should allow us to log in. Okay, now in order to do that, what we can do is let us just open our Sublime first. Perfect, our CI is already there. Let me close everything. The few things that we are going to do today is, first of all, build our admin panel. So in order to build our admin panel, we can create a folder called admin inside our controller. So new folder, admin. Okay, so all of our codes related to admin panel will be inside our admin folder, and that way we can separate our front end with our back end. So first of all, I would like to create a controller called login inside our admin panel. Okay, so simple class login extends ci underscore controller. So here is our controller, and its index function should load me a view file with login page, with login form, right? So I'll just load a simple view over here, and for loading the view, I need to create a view first. And what I want to do is I want to place all the views of admin panel inside admin folder. So this way. So inside admin folder, now I would like to create a login.php. Okay, so I have login.php for my admin panel, and this view I want to load inside my index function of login controller. So what I want to do is, if it was just a file, I would have written login, but since it is inside admin folder, so I should say admin slash login. So this means I need to load the login view which is inside admin folder. So if you see in my views folder, I have a folder called admin, and I'm loading the login.php. So let's say this is a login page. So I need to create a simple HTML document, and I would also like to use some bootstraps. So maybe we can download a new bootstrap, or maybe I can just grab it from my local projects, which we did last time in previous playlist. We had a folder called PHP Specials, which is inside www PHP Specials here. So I just need to copy this and paste it inside my CI, which is here. So you can paste it on the root of your project, which is just inside my CI folder. Now you can see Bootstrap is here. Inside my Bootstrap I have a dist folder. Inside dist we have CSS, and I just need to link this bootstrap.css inside my document. So title would be admin dash login. Okay, so in order to link the bootstrap.css, I'll just write link href. Now inside our href, previously while we worked on code CI, we used to give some let's say absolute path or absolute URL, or maybe relative URL. But here, since CodeIgniter does not work on folders, on the basis of folders or on the basis of files, it works with the URI segment. So our path to the CSS file is localhost/ci, which is our base URL, and we need to get inside Bootstrap, and we need to get inside dist CSS and bootstrap.css. So in order to generate our base URL, I'll just call a function called base_URL. You can also use site URL if you want and pass the parameter inside it, but for linking files I generally prefer base URL. So base URL, and it has slash at the end, so I don't need to place another slash. After the base URL, I need to get inside Bootstrap and get inside dist and CSS. Then we'll get our bootstrap.css, right? So we have linked our Bootstrap perfectly. Now I want to create a div called, and give it a class called login. And also I would like to give a class called col-md let's say 4, so that it only occupies the width of, let's say, 4 by 12, 1/3 of the entire page. And I want to bring this div to the center, having equal space on the left and equal space on the right. So I can just add a class called mx-auto, and that will bring the entire div to the center. Now I want to create a form inside this div, my login form. So my method would be post, and my action would be let's say, now since this is CodeIgniter, we don't give the path to our file, rather we give the path to our controllers function. So what I will do here is, so site_URL and I pass the parameter called admin slash login for the login controller. So this is our admin folder inside our controller, my login controller, and inside my login controller I would like to create a new function called verify that will be used to verify our login. So what I will do is I'll create a new function called verify. So function verify will be the place where we'll be writing our codes for the verification. Okay, now I would like to create some form groups. Class equals to form dash group. I'd like to give a row. Class equals to row. I'd like to give two divs, one div for, let's say just one div. Maybe I don't need a row, I just need input type equals to text, name equals, let's say, username for the username, and let us also give a placeholder saying username, and let's say class called form dash control. So these are all for the CSS purpose, styling purpose. You don't have to worry much about the classes. So input type equals to password for the password, name would be password, and password, and my placeholder would be password, and my class would be form dash control. Finally, for submit button, I'll give a input type equals to submit, name equals to, let's say, submit, and value equals to login, and a class called btn and btn dash primary maybe. So let us see how our form look like. So after we go to admin slash, since we are inside admin is a folder name, so let us give the controller name, and after typing this much it will automatically load the index function. So it is now loading our let's say, what's this? This is the form, login form. Let us also give a heading called login. So h1 let's say admin login. Okay, so you can see it's there. Why don't we just give a text center class text dash center, so that everything is aligned up in the center. Okay, maybe we can also get some spacing here by, actually we had to place the form group for each and every input. So one form group for username, another form group for class equals to form dash group for password, and another form group for button. So now we have a little bit clean. I know for all those who are designers out there, this might not be looking so good, but as a developer we can start with this. So this is good enough for us to start with. So we have designed our login form. Now once we submit this, it actually submits the data to login.php. Okay, so login.php verify. But what I told you is, we don't generally type admin/login. So once we hit /admin, if we are not logged in, it should take us to admin login, and if we are already logged in, it should take us to the dashboard. Okay, so what I will do is I'll just write a little bit of route, which is inside application and inside config and routes. Okay, so what I want to do is I would like to introduce you a new way of defining our URL. So route, inside the index we can just type in whatever we want to denote our route with. So if somebody types admin in the route after the base URL, if there is admin like this, okay, so after the base URL localhost/ci we just have admin. So if somebody tries to access admin after the base URL, so we can say this means admin login. Okay, so this means admin folder login controller. We can also give the function if you like. So index, so admin actually means admin login index. So this way we are defining our own URL. So this is actually denoting that if somebody types in admin, this is equivalent to admin login index. Now if you see, if you just hit admin, now it is opening admin login index, because as per our routes, /admin refers to admin login index. So this way we can create our own URLs using CodeIgniter's routes. Okay, now since this is submitting our form to admin login verify, so if you see here, it is submitting our form to admin controller login admin folder login controller verify function, which is here. So what we generally did previously in core PHP, we grabbed the username and password using post, right? So we will do the same thing here, but this way. So username equals to $_post username as per our previous approach, but $_post username is not how we do it in CodeIgniter. It will still work, but $_post has lots of compromises. For example, we need to trim the username. We might have to check for the SQL injection and maybe use MySQLi real escape string in order to get rid of SQL injection. So in CodeIgniter, just a function will take care of all these things, and that is this input post. So this is exactly equivalent to $_post, but instead of passing the index, we now pass the parameter to this function, and the parameter is the name of the input, which is username. So if you want to grab the username from the form, you just type this input post, and it will take care of all the stuffs like MySQL injection and trimming maybe. So I don't think it will trim, but it will take care of MySQL injection, so we don't have to clean up our input anymore. So we grabbed our input, we similarly we'd like to grab our password. So this input password. There are also like process of validating the form, which I don't want to discuss right now. So I just want to guide you about basic CRUD operation checking from the database. So we have username and we have our password. Now what I want to do is I want to check if this username and password exists inside our database table. So first of all, let us create a table for admin. Let us just call the table admins, okay? And maybe we can have one for ID, username, password, and let's say for name, okay? So ID, name, username, and password. So name would be varchar, username would be varchar, varchar, and password will also be varchar. Let's give the length 255, 255, 255 for the varchar. And let us make this auto increment and primary, go save it. Let us also make a dummy entry for now just to check the login. So I would like to insert view name would be my name, Anwar Ali, my username would be admin, and a password would be something which I want to encrypt. So let us just generate an encrypted password. You can use MD5, you can use SHA1, or you can use other advanced encryption, but for now I'm just using MD5. So in order to generate an MD5, I just like to create a new file, maybe save it in somewhere else, not in this CI. So maybe I would like to save it inside www and just name it let's say a.php. I already have, okay, let's replace it, php echo. I just want to generate MD5 for, let's say, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so if you want to generate the MD5 for 1 2 3 4 5 6, just say MD5 is a function name, so just pass the parameter like this. But just be aware that since our input grabs the format in text format, so you also have to place the quote in here because the MD5 for the number and the text is different. So just type in quote like this. So we are generating MD5 for a string, not number. So 1 2 3 5 6 is a string, so I am placing it inside a code. So let's see what's the MD5 for 1 2 3 4 5 6. Localhost / a.php, and so this is my MD5. Let me just copy it and paste it over here. So this is my password 1 2 3 4 5 6 in its encrypted format in MD5. So my username is admin and my password is 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to check, maybe I would forget it, so I'll just write it in comment. Username is my admin and my password is 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so what we need to do is once we grab the password from the user, we also need to encrypt it so that we can check the encrypted password in our database. So let us just encrypt the password provided by the user by just passing it to MD5. So we have the encrypted password and the username. Okay, so this way we are also guaranteeing the user that we are not accessing their username and password, as in the password submitted by them is encrypted, so even an administrator will not be able to see it. Okay, so MD5. Secondly, since now we need to communicate with database, there is one more thing that we need to do, and database is something that is really often used in the project, so we generally auto load it. But if you don't want to auto load, what you can do is you can just load the library wherever you want. So we have a library called database inside CodeIgniter, which can be used only after we load the library. For example, if you want to load the database, what you need to do is this, just like you load the view, this load library. Okay, and you can pass the name of the library, which is database. So after loading the library database, now you can use the database throughout this function. But since database is very commonly used, we can just auto load this library. Just like helper, like last time we discussed about the helper is a set of functions in a common file. Similarly, database is library. Now this is not a set of functions, but it is an entire class. So library is generally a class with lots of function in it, which makes our task really easy. We can perform really big jobs in few lines. So lots of codes are all written for us inside libraries. So what we can do is we can just auto load the database library. So libraries are here, we can just auto load the library database. And since we are session is also a library and we are now about to deal with session, so I just can comma separate and load another library called session over here. So we are ready to use the database library and session library throughout our website now. So what I'm going to do is I want to check if my username and password is there in the database. Now, as you remember, in our first class of this playlist, we discussed that all of the thing related to database is done inside our model. So what I want to do now is I want to create a new model inside my models folder. And model are generally named after the table's name. So if our table is admins, I generally, my practice is writing the table name in plural and writing the model name in singular. And controller can be as you wish, but I generally write controller and model in plural form, and I write the model controller and the database name table name in plural form, and I write the model name in singular form. And that is maybe the standard practice of all the frameworks. So you can practice that from now. So inside my models folder, I'll create a new file for that table, which is admins table. So I will just call it admin.php this way. So now, and this should be capital, the casing of model name should be capital admin. Okay, let us create a model. So class admin, now this will extend not ci controller but ci underscore model. This is the difference between controller and model. Now all the tasks related to admins table will be dealing inside this model. Now we can create our own functions here, like for example function validate. Okay, so this will, what this will do is actually in our controller we grabbed our username and password. We can grab this inside our model. Okay, so what we will do is we'll just call this. First of all, we'll load our model. So load in order to load the model, we'll just write model and load it by its name. So our name of the model is admin. So now while loading the model, we'll be using lowercase, not the uppercase. Okay, so this load model admin. Now we can use all the functions defined inside admin model inside this function because we loaded the model inside this function, right? So what I want to do here is I just want to, let's say, check, create a function called check, and this and I'll assign something that is returned by this admin model, and my function would be validate. Okay, this way. So this admin validate. So admin model is here. Now I would like to validate, so I'll first of all grab the username and password and check these password exist in the database. So what I'll do is, now since we have already loaded our database library, now I can use the functions of database library. Now in order to check if something is there in database, that means running select all from the admins where username equals to this username and password equals to this password. What I can do is I can say this db get underscore where. So get underscore where is a function that allows us to pass in some parameters, and one of its parameter is, the first parameter is table name, and our table name is admins. My second parameter is my conditions inside array. So my username should be username and a password should be password. So instead of doing this, we generally write this in array format. So ARR, and the field name should be inside array. So ARR password should also be inside array. So this means now if I pass in array over here, what this will do is select all from admins where username equals to this username and password equals to this password. So all of the field that I want to check from the table name, I need to pass it inside array in this format. So after passing the array, it will automatically check where username equals to this and password equals to this. Okay, so I just grabbed it. Now in order to fetch it, I just need to write result. or row. So if you want multiple result, you have to write result. But since I know the combination of this username and password cannot be multiple, what I can do is I can just write row. So row is generally for fetching single entry, and result is for fetching multiple entry in array format. So since now I'm just trying to check if any of the one row has the username this and password this. So instead of writing result, I'm writing row. So I can just check, fetch it, and return it. So if this fetches any of the entry from the database, it will return that entry, and if it does not fetch any of the entry or does not find any entry, it will just return false. So I need to check if this is false or has some entry. So what I'll do is, if it has some entry, it will of course validate if, but if it is returning false, it will not get inside if, rather it will get inside else, right? So if I find any entry, it will get inside if, but if I don't find any entry, validate will return false, and I need to say invalid username or password, which I'll control later on. Or let us just do it right now. Let us just get back to the login page, login index, and load the view again. So if something is wrong, if the username and password is not correct, I need to redirect the admin back to index, right? So what I'll do is redirect to admin. So admin, so just calling the redirect function will redirect you to the respected place. So as per our routes, admin means admin login index. So by just writing admin, I'm actually redirecting the user to admin login index, right? So let us see if everything is working fine. So if my username and password is incorrect, okay, like this, it should again take me and get me back to the same page. So admin login, let us see, and I'm back to admin again because my username and password was not correct. So let us try to type in the correct username and password and check to see if everything works fine. So let us say if the username and password validates and returns some entry, I just want to echo the username correct credential. Okay, so I just want to echo correct credentials if it is correct, and if it is incorrect, I just want to direct it back to the admin. Let's see. So incorrect, I'm back to admin, and if it is correct, which is admin, and let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6 login, it is saying correct credentials. That means it is working fine. So when you are typing the correct username and password, and this is taking me back, it is displaying me echo correct credential. So what I'm basically doing is, first of all, in order to check to communicate with database, I created a model called admin inside my models. Now what I'm doing is I'm loading that model inside my verify. Now I can use all the functions of admin model inside my this function. So what I did, I created a function called validate, which grabs the username, grabs the password from the user, and check to see if that username and password is in the database, and whatever it finds, it returns. So if it finds any entry from the database, it will return that entry, and if it does not find, it will return false. So I'm checking to see if this is false or true. So if this finds some entry, I'm just writing echo correct credential, and if it does not find any entry, I'm saying redirect back to the admin. Now instead of displaying correct credential, I want to redirect the admin to the dashboard. Redirect the one who is trying to log in to the dashboard. So I would like to create another controller called admin and dashboard. So inside my admin folder, I want to create another controller called dashboard. Okay, so inside my controller, inside my admin, I want to create another controller called dashboard and take the user to the dashboard. So let me just quickly copy the login controller and paste it here so that I don't have to write much. So I just replace login with dashboard, and inside the index we don't need verify. Inside dashboard, I just want to load a view called admin dashboard. Okay, so inside my view file, I want to create another file called dashboard.php inside my admin folder. Let us just display this is dashboard. Now let us see if we are doing everything fine. So let me just verify this again. So as per our code now, it should take me to the dashboard view, and it is saying admin dashboard is not found. Let's see why didn't it find admin dashboard, because the spelling of dashboard here is incorrect. So it should be dashboard, so with an H after S, right? So dashboard. Let us now check if it is working. It's saying unable to load the requested file admin dashboard.php. Let's see. Again, something must be wrong with our, again we missed out S, H after S inside our view file. So just add H. Now let's try to refresh it again. Now it is saying this is dashboard, so everything is working fine. But before taking it back to dashboard, what I want to do is I want to check the session. I want to create the session and then take it dashboard. Before that, I want to create a constructor here. Let's say function underscore underscore construct for the constructor. And I want to do, what I want to do here is, if somebody is already logged in, I don't want to show them, I don't want to show them the login form or verify the login, because they are already logged in. So what I'm going to do here is I want to check if somebody is already logged in, and if they are already logged in, I want to take them to dashboard. Similarly, inside dashboard, I want to create a constructor, so public underscore underscore construct inside my dashboard. And what I want to check here is, if somebody is not logged in and they are trying to access the dashboard, I want to take them back to login. So these are the two things I want to do. But before that, I need to create the session before redirecting them to the dashboard. So this, in order to create session, we have a function in Kodiary that says this session set underscore user data. So user data is, set user data is a function of session library. Now we are, if you remember, we have already auto loaded a library called session here. So now we can use all the functions of session library inside in our entire site. So I'm just checking if if the username and password is correct. I want to set a session called admin and place a value, any value, maybe let's say for now I would like to place the value, let's say 1 inside my admin. Okay, we can actually place the value of the value that we just fetched from the database through validate, but for now, just to check, I just placed 1 here. So if the username and password is correct, I'm setting the session for that user. Okay, and what I'm trying to do here is I would just want to show, we just logged in and get in dashboard. But if you get back to admin, we can still see it says undefined property load in admin login 10. Let's see, admin login 10. So this load view admin login. Okay, so after you create a constructor, what you need to do is we need to extend, we need to mention the parent of this constructor, and the parent is the constructor of ci underscore controller. So we need to do is underscore underscore construct. Okay, so this is must for coordinator. If you are defining a constructor, what you need to do is you need to mention parent underscore underscore constructor. Otherwise your functions might not work properly. Now let's see. See, if I'm trying to access the login, even after I have logged in, it is taking me to login, and even if I type dashboard without logging in, it is taking me dashboard. So I need to handle some session over here. So what I'm doing here now is, after somebody submits the login button, I'm creating a session for him, and my session is admin and its value is 1. Now what I want to do inside my dashboard is, if somebody is not logged in, I want to take him back to the login, and inside my login, if somebody is already logged in, I want to take him to the dashboard. So what I want to do is, I would like to check if $this session, now I just say user data. In order to get the value of the session, I just need to do user data, and in order to set the user data, I need to say set underscore user data. So here we are creating a session, and here we are checking the session. So I'm just writing user data over here. So I'm trying to check if the if the session called admin exists. So if the session called admin already exists, I want to take this user to the dashboard this way, right? So I want to take the user to the dashboard. Similarly, inside my dashboard, I want to say if not $this session user data, and my user data is admin. So if the session admin is not set, I want to redirect the user back to admin, which is login, right? So it should be admin slash dashboard, not this dashboard. So if the user is already logged in, I need to redirect the user to admin slash dashboard, and if the user is not logged in, I want to redirect the user to the admin. Okay, now let's try to access the dashboard. Since the session is not set yet, so if I try to submit it, it is taking me to the admin. So now it is not letting me to go to dashboard. See, it is taking me back to the admin, because in the constructor of dashboard we have checked if the session does not exist, take it back to the login. Now since the session is not set yet, let's create a session by passing the correct username and password, admin, and 1 2 3 4 5 6. Let us log in. Now it is taking me dashboard. Now if I try to get back to the login page, it will force and redirect me to dashboard because my session is already set. So this way we can handle the session in CodeIgniter by creating the session, and in the constructor what we can do is, because constructor is a function that gets called before any other functions get called. So inside our constructor what we are doing is we are checking the session if the admin session already exists, and if it exists we are taking to dashboard, and inside our dashboard we are checking before anything else. If the session does not exist, take the user back to the admin or the login page. So this is it for today. I think we have learned quite a few things. We have learned how to grab data from the database. We'll learn more about the CRUD operation tomorrow, and how to after fetching it, how to get the values of the different fields using the variable, how to use loops for the multiple entries. Today my main intention was to cover up the session library and just basic of database library, which we have covered. I hope you understood what we discussed today, and if you did not, if you find anything confusing, you can mention it in the comment below. And if you like the video, don't forget to hit thumbs up button, and if you have not subscribed yet, click on the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit on the bell icon so that you can receive the notification of all the videos I upload. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys tomorrow with a new video with a new topic. Till then, have a nice time. Goodbye.